Mm. Okay. In the last class, we were seeing about Docker basics, like what is Docker and Docker architecture, and how the when you run some Docker CLI commands, how it goes to the Docker host, and how the certain operations are performed, like how it pulls the image from the registry to your local, how the Docker daemon works. So we just seen like a basic overview about Docker. Today we are going to start with Docker CLI commands. What are the commands? What are the like what we are going to do with this Docker file? So those things will start from today. So for regarding for that, I have Docker in my local. I can run it local itself, but let me run it from the Linux server to show you a demo. Um, so I'm going to my AWS server.
Uh, Satish,
Yeah.
can you share the screen?
Oh, sorry, I'm not showing. Sorry, 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 sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, sorry about that. Um, okay, let's start. So let me first what I will do is like I will go to I'm in the EC2 instance. I'm launching an instance. Uh, I'm just keeping it as a Docker something. Uh, I'm giving all the default settings and then I'm creating an instance. Okay, creating a pair will be like oh last time. Mm, Amazon Linux is fine. Let me take Ubuntu. Anything is fine. Let's go. Let's go. I'm creating a server here. Let's wait. Uh, I got the public IP. So as I previously told, like um, in order for you to install any package in the Linux like Docker or some Kubernetes, always try to follow some documentation from the online where you have like clear steps. So this I am just typing like Docker installation, uh, not Ubuntu, it's Amazon Linux. Like installing Docker. So if you go to the first documentation and you go down, yeah, it's Linux. Uh, then there will be steps for you. Just copy those steps and you just run it in your putty in the EC2 instance. Then you will have the Docker get itself. Before like you do any installation of package, you should run this m update. So it will update uh, the repositories. If there is any package new packages are released, it will show you where. So these are the packages that's available for you that you can update. Then then I'm just oh, sorry. and then I'm just doing install -y docker for installing the package. That's how we basically install all the packages, and then I'm starting the container. Mm. Then I'm starting the docker service and then giving permission to EC2 user. Now if you type docker hyphen version to see what version is installed, you can see this command is giving some output like docker version 25.08 has been installed in your system. That's how you basically install. It's installing is very easy. For any installation, you always rely on some online documentation or use ChatGPT or whatever you feel. Um, so now it's the Docker installation is completed. Now let's start to see some Docker commands. To know the version, we used Docker hyphen version. To see whatever the containers running in my Linux machine, you should give type Docker PS. So currently no Docker containers are running. That's why you don't see any of the containers. So if I'm give something like mm, I will explain this command. So first what I'm trying to going to do now is like I'm going to run a nginx container. Okay, nginx docker container. First the command is like docker, and then it should be like you should have run, and then you should run means I'm running the container, so you should give us a run, and hyphen d means in the background. Okay, so if you don't specify this hyphen d, it will run in the foreground, and you have to do, if you do control C, then the container will be stopped. So you wanted to run the container in the background, so you give hyphen d, then you specify hyphen p. Hyphen p means on which port number you want to run this container. If you take, let me explain something. um, we already in one of the basic class we have seen there are like around ports are available up to like 65,535 ports are available for any Linux machine. Okay, so this is your VM. Okay, consider this as my VM. This machine has 65,535 ports. Inside this I am running a docker container. Okay, so this docker container also has these many ports. This docker container also inside it's like a virtual environment. Here also you have 65,535 ports are available for you. So what you like, uh, why you have to specify the port means, because we have a public IP for this Linux machine, right? I have a public IP for this VM. At the end of your goal is to like access the application that's running in your docker container, right? So you have to do the port mapping. So consider in the docker nginx is going to run on a port number 80. Okay, so in I'm going to open a port 80 for this VM on the security groups. Okay, security that we will see. So that's why you have to mention hyphen p 80 colon 80. This first 80 points to your physical port number, host of physical port number of the machine. This 80 points to the docker container where the application is running. So if I give hyphen 80 and 80, and then I give nginx, nginx means what will be that image name. Okay, if I go to docker hub, um, mm, you have this subdoc.io, right? So if I go to nginx is like a web server, you will see now what I am trying to say. Now let me go to some like type nginx. So this is a repository here, that's why I know there is a repository called nginx. That's why I type a word called nginx here. Okay, inside if I click this nginx, it's a docker official images. You can see n number of image tags are available here. Okay, so like whatever the image they develop in the docker container, while you actually like create this Docker image, while they're pushing to this up.docker.io, they will be tagging this image, because each and every day, like Nginx is a separate organization. They are working on some web server development. They are going to create uh, give a release. Okay, they're going to give a release. So each and for every release, what the Docker organization will do, right? They will take the latest image, like the latest application code of Nginx, and they containerize and they push it to the Docker hub registry. You got it? What I am trying to say now? I want answers from you.
Can you repeat again?
This part alone, or what part you missed?
On the top.
This one.
This one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. About the port number.
About the port number. Okay. You got clear about this thing, right? How this image they push.
Yeah, yeah. This okay.
Uh, uh, See, so it's a virtual machine, right? I created a EC2 instance in my AWS, right? You
Yes.
got it? Uh, then
Yeah, I got.
it has a public IP, right? It has a public IP like 13.162.163.130, right? uh, I am going to run a application by using Docker, so it is going to run inside this VM. Okay, so I'm going to run that application in port 80, because this port 80, whatever I'm mentioning, it is running inside the container. Okay, this port 80, what I mentioned is this port 80 is on the Linux machine. Okay, if you go here, there is something called security groups for my machine, not like you. Okay, go here itself, click the instance, you see something called security, right? Security, and then you see inbound rules and outbound rules. What does it specifically means like it's a machine that is available in the AWS network, right? This total machine is going to available in the AWS. So this network is completely isolated. So you like on which port number what who should access, and on which port number the outbound signal to go, we can control that. That's a help of this security group to control the inbound and outbound traffic of an outbound for a virtual machine. So here we have 6553 ports, right? So you by using this one you can open. See, currently we have a port 22 opened here. um, Currently port 22 is opened here. Now port I'm going to open one more port called 80, because my Docker container is going to run on the port 80. That's the reason I'm specifying -p 8080 and nginx. Okay, you got it now.
Yes, now I
uh,
got.
uh, Now if I go to this Docker hub registry, you see there are a lot of images are there. So if you, so each and every image they always whatever the latest version, they will be tagging it as a latest. uh, I think I was ideal. Now if I do Docker run um, -d in background mode, -p a port number, and colon -8080, and then nginx, I know I have a repository in Docker registry, and there are a lot of tags here. So I will be just, I don't want, I want to take a latest one. You just simply give it as after colon, just give it as latest. So whatever the latest image that available for you in this Docker registry will be pulled in. If I run it this one, you see unable to find image nginx locally. What will happen now is like as I said yesterday, this is the CLI command in the Docker host is here. It is trying to find the image here. If it is not available, it is goes to the registry and fetches that image and started to run here. You see now it started to run. If you do Docker ps now, see a Docker container is running for you in the port 80. Got it? uh, now what I'm
Where?
going to, now what I'm going to do is like, now an nginx application is actually running for you uh, in the port 80. Okay, now you see, you can see the screen, right? So wherever it's running, you can see that nginx 1.29 is been pulled. uh, Now if I go and then, this is my Linux machine, right? In the inbound rule of this one, uh, click the machine and you see security somewhere, and then come to this inbound rules and then click the inbound rules. uh, Here you see the security group, right? Click that, you edit the inbound rule. See, I'm just coming, clicking this, wait, go to instance. In that instance, after you click this, you will have this dashboard. In that, click security. In that, click security group, and then you can edit the inbound rule, and then you add a rule for 80. I'm just specifying it as HTTP. uh, and the traffic, this means anywhere. 0.0.0 means anywhere from the internet, that it means. So I am going to open the port http, which is like http, it is port 80, and the traffic is from anywhere, and save the changes. Okay, once I save this application, now the port 80 is open throughout the internet on this machine. If I go and uh, mm, take this, I go to this instance again, and I take the public IP, and I put this public IP here, um, and then I give port 80 means, and you enter. Now you see, you will be seeing some website, welcome to nginx. See how this application is running. This application, first of all, I opened a security group in the port 80 in the virtual machine, and I run the application in port 80. So after I click the public IP and given the port 80, you see, welcome to Nginx. This is the page. It's a web server. It is been running in your Docker container. Uh, you got this one now.
Yes.
Okay. Then there will be like, let's see, multiple commands in docker. So what I did here is like, uh, I straight away started to run a docker container. So if there is any image that you know that it actually exists here, like let me go some, go here, and I type for some python, go for docker, like I go for python something. uh, I know a repository called Python exists here. Let me pull the Python image now. Okay. Let what in order to first, what had happened is like when I ran this Docker run command, this image doesn't exist in the machine. It directly went to the registry and fetch the image. Now I just wanted to fetch the image from the repository. I don't want to run it. That time you have to do Docker pull, and then you do Docker pull, and then you give the uh, like repository name we know python, and I give it as latest means whatever the image tag is available here, that will be get pulled in. If you want to specifically pull this version, then like you do like this, python colon, python means we have a repository in docker, and then if you give in this means, now you see this image will get pulled to your local machine. It's pulling, it's checks it mostly whenever you pull or push some images to docker registry, it will take some time. So we will see about docker push while we do docker file and update. Now if I do docker ps, then you see, uh, this the container we started to. Now if we do docker images means, then you can see there are, if you type docker images, whatever that image exists for you in this local machine, that will be shown here. Okay, that's the command called docker images. You see, now python image is there, and nginx image is there. So that's the reason we use docker pull and docker images. Now let's Now, once after I typed like started running this Docker container, I straight away typed like Docker PS. Docker PS means whatever like current containers which are running, which are in running state. If you want to see whatever the containers are in the running state, you have to use a Docker uh, PS. If you use Docker PS hyphen A means it will show the containers which are in running as well as which are stopped here. So now what I do is like I'm going to run one more container. Let me like what I do is like now uh, I'll stop the container. There is a command to stop a container which is called docker stop. And then in this line, if you see, if I drive docker ps means um, there are you can see multiple entries, right? Container id is like unique id. It's a unique id like in 10 digit that is created for your docker container. And then image, what image we actually it's running, it's using the nginx latest repository is nginx, and latest is the image tag. And the command, what command it is been used while executing, that is we have in the docker hyphen endpoint. It created 6 minutes ago, its status is like 6 minutes ago, port number open to throughout the well, 0.0 means like open to throughout the well. And the worst port is 80 and the docker port is 80. And the docker name is if you specify name, it takes a name. If you don't specify any name, it will give some any random name. Okay. What I'm going to show is like this container is running. I want to stop this container. Okay, I do docker stop, and then you go to this container, and then you click it, and then do right click. I'm just copying that. Either you can give container id, or you can give container id, or you can give the container name. Both will work here. I do docker stop and container id. Now if I do docker ps, see, after I stopped the container, now I'm not seeing these entries here because my container is stopped. Docker ps command is only used to see the containers which are running. If I do docker ps hyphen a, then you will see the docker got, now the status has been updated to exceeded 50 seconds ago, and see no port mappings are showing here. That's the difference between docker ps and docker ps hyphen a. Now I want to run it again. Then if I want to do some um, I want to start my container docker, there is a command called docker start, and then give the container id. It will start the container. So do docker ps again. Now again see, this container is created 8 minutes ago. Now again it started to run back. um, so that's the basic commands. And you see, right, docker now now you want to delete this container. This is running, but you want to delete this container. What then you do? You either you can do docker rm hyphen f and then give the container id. um, it will delete the container directly. Or what you do is like you repeat the color command called docker stop and give container id. It will stop the container. If you go to the browser, and then if you like if you refresh, now you will not be see the site cannot be reached because my nginx container is stopped working, right? If I do docker ps hyphen a, it got exited. Now what you do is like you do docker rm hyphen f. Rm means remove. Docker remove f hyphen f means force. I'm removing it forcefully. And then you give container id. Then you see, if you do enter docker ps hyphen a itself, you will not be seeing any entry because I deleted the docker container itself. And some other command is there. I have docker. If I type docker images, I have lot of images. I have two images, right? I don't like, I want to delete some images because it occupies a lot of spaces in my system. Okay, then there's a command called docker rmi. Rm means it deletes the container. Rmi means it removes the image from the machine. Rm hyphen f. F means forcefully. Rm like remove image, and then give the image id, and then enter. Now if you type docker images, now you see that python image got deleted from my machine. So these are the basic docker commands. I hope you got it.
Yes, Satish.
Okay, let's. Okay, I think we covered hyphen D, hyphen name. So I didn't get started about this one. Okay, so when I was running, you were seeing this random name, right? When I started to run this Xeonel Lamport, this random name has came. So now what I do is like I do Docker run again hyphen D hyphen port 8080. Now what I do when I give an nginx latest. Now I want to give some name to my container. I will give, then I gave it as nginx. Nginx, so Docker run hyphen d means running in the background mode. Hyphen name means I'm going to give a name to my container. If I don't give it, it will give a random name to the container. So okay, I want to give some specific name, and I know hyphen p means port mapping. You should keep remembering this word like port mapping. 80 means physical host. The second 80 means the Docker port number and then Nginx latest. And then if you do Docker ps, you started to run, then you see nginx app is running here. Docker like a Docker container, nginx app is started to run. That's how you name the container. So for now this is fine, these basic commands are fine. Let's move to writing Docker file. So be careful here. Let me go some. I'm creating a folder called my project. Under this, we will be start writing Docker file, Jenkins file, Kubernetes file, and we will see deployments, everything here. I'm going to create my own project. So I will remember it like I'll keep it something like Phoenix project. I'm just giving a name. Okay, you don't need to worry about these things. Like I'm giving a Phoenix project. Under this Phoenix project, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to write a Docker file. For in order for you to write a Docker file, the format name in the universe, they should are following like Docker file. After you type Docker file, you see I just type Docker file, then the image got changed to like this container symbol, and then enter. Um, what happens here like so this is the universal format for Docker file. If you have Docker file apart from this file format, you should be while running some Docker build command, you should specify some extra arguments. So this is my Docker file. If you do some Docker build with this file format, it knows by default that it checks for the format called Docker file and start building it. So let's start this Docker file. Why you showed like I showed you get an image from the Docker up registry and started to run in the local. So why are writing this Docker file? So in order for any organizations like the Nginx, what I told earlier, like they are like they're an organization. They released this version, and then this Docker, what it did, they took the latest release and they built a Docker image and they push it this image to the Docker registry. That's how you get that Docker image. So Nginx build the application and Docker took it and they build it and they push it that image tag into the Docker registry. Now, similar to that, in your organization, like in your any of the organization, you will be going to create an app, right? You will be developing some app. You have to containerize that app. So you have to specify the certain instructions how my application is going to be here customized for container. So for that, let me start with some um, the easy application would be like let me start with some Python application. First word for any Docker container in the world is to like from. What is this from? So in the Docker, if you go like I showed the Python, right? What I showed in the Python registry, it what does it mean this Docker means? So um, if you click this image tag, then they are opening it, then you see there is a from here, build pack dips, bookworm. Okay, for any image that you see in the Docker registry, they took a base image. The image can be anything. So mostly the base image people would set is like, for Python they would be fetching a Python image, because you have the Python installed there. Okay, for node, the image will be node, because node has been installed there, and general dependencies will be available here. So, and then if you go for .NET, and then if you go for uh, like in any images, like, okay, so like if you have Ubuntu, if you want Ubuntu machine, on top of that you do some installation or something, you choose Ubuntu. So whatever the basic image that you want to run your application, that image will be available for you in the Docker Hub registry. So if any people in the organization, their base image they would take from any private registry, on top of they build the application, and then they push it to the private registry. Okay, uh, now what I'm going to do is like I'm specifying from means from what is my base image. I will be mentioning as Python 3, and then like it is suggesting me to 3.10 slim. Okay, and then I'll be okay, 3.10 slim. So what is this Python 3.10 slim? So for any application, like any image that you took, there are a lot of versions will be there. There are slim versions will be there, uh, and then there will be something called alpine image will be there, and then there will be something called bullseye, so bookworm. You will be start getting familiarized once you started to write these Docker files. Mostly people, what is this, why don't why what are these things like sim alpine bull elements? Because what we said, Docker is a lightweight. What they do is like, in order for you to run the Python application, on what they would have been done is like, they took a Ubuntu image. Ubuntu have multiple software, multiple dependencies, multiple libraries. In that, they removed some of the libraries and made this Python image. That's what this slim build, alpine build is there. So if they remove certain libraries, only like they remove some certain libraries and they become created a slim, and then they remove some other libraries, they create an alpine. So that is what the slim, alpine, and everything is. Mostly whenever you try to create like create an image, try to uh, have this slim versions. The biggest original versions will be heavy, because this image size will be like around 1 GB. If the original will be like more than that, 1.5, 1.3. The packages are reduced. That's the size. That's why the size of this images got reduced. You should be always try to make the package, the Docker file sizes very less, because and then alone you will be um, able to handle it. Okay, because if your image is too large, then your storage size becomes too high, then you will be billable for that. So and it will be very tough for you to manage that size image, if that image is larger in size. That's the reason you have to use the slim version. And then, so what it's and then what commands are there, like um, the command will be like label is there, label, and then you can label who is it is suggesting. See, like I have something here, that's why it's suggesting me. uh, and then I type some maintainer who is going to maintain this image. Label means just a tagging. You know what is mean tagging? uh, like in the end, you know what is environmental variables. So in Linux there are a lot of environmental variables are there. So application can fetch the values from the environment. If you write it in such a way that you can it can fetch the details from the environment. It is similar to that. You just naming, just giving a label who is going to maintain, just a text command. Okay, I'm going to Python like Phoenix team. I'm going to give this Phoenix team, and then what would be there, and then there will be something called work directory. In work directory, you specify some app. working directory in your physical machine here is different. This working directory means inside your container. If you are where my applications should start run, where I should have my application files, that is called working directory. This working directory, this is where your applications will be copied here. Then what you do is for any Python package, um, I'm going to run, I do some apt because I'm going to install some package. That's why it is suggesting, you see a lot of things you're suggesting, right? I'm just to get pt get update. Okay, let's say you don't do any api, you will be get confused. uh, for any python application, now I go to ChatGPT. What I'm going to ask with ChatGPT is see what I'm typing. I want to create Python image. For that, give me simple web application files like .py files, .py .py file and requirements file. So for any application, there would be some format, and so there are some files that needed to for you to run. Okay. Now what I did is it has written me a code which is called app.py. I'm just copying the content, and then what I'm doing, I'm keeping it like app.py, and then I'm pasting the content here. uh, what happens, I'm actually creating a simple application called allow from flask inside docker. So this will be shown you when the application is going to run. We will be seeing that we will be build this image, and I will run this docker container, and then you will be able to see. Okay. uh, and it's going to run in the port 5000. That is what this application means. Okay, you don't need to worry about these things. These are like just fundamentals. Once you start learning these things, you will know. And then what it's given, requirement.txt file is uh, I need a module called for requirements dot. Mm. In the requirements.txt file, I adding a Flask. Flask is an module that is used for some web application developments. Okay, that's what you have to know for now. Flask is like a module that used for web application development. I written a app.py with a requirement.txt file. Now you see what it's suggesting me to do is um, now what I have to do is I have to copy. First of all, I have to copy the requirement.txt from the physical host to the docker container. Okay, that's the difference between this copy command and in the linux you are seeing some other copy command, right? uh, which is called cp. This cp command, this cp command we use to copy files from inside the linux machine or inside the particular host. But this copy command will copy the requirement.txt file from your local or physical machine to the inside the docker container. So you type it, then you type docker requirements dot txt, and then dot means current directory. Dot means what I have told, previously I told dot means current directory. My working directory I set it as slash app. Now this working directory is similar to the cd command. Okay, so what in the next we do cd, right? That's it is similar to working that only. After I set it, it is in app directory. I'm copying the requirement.txt from the physical host to this host, and then I'm going to do some pip install. So for in order for you to um, install any packages in any of the code like python node.js, these steps are mostly similar. Okay, you taken base image and you copy the package file means you take the package file and then you install the dependencies inside the um, inside the docker container. I do hyphen cache. These are commands, okay, that you have to learn. So if it, like in order to do for python, it's like pip install hyphen no cache and hyphen r requirement.txt. So what these commands mean, like pip install means it installs the module that you referenced in this requirement.txt field. That's the command. Okay, requirements.txt. And then the last command would be like copy.cd. Okay, copy dot means like what it does is like it copies the file from the first dot represents the uh, current folder in the physical machine. The second dot points to the in the virtual machine. Okay, in the virtual container that we are going to run. And then there is something called expose. What is this expose? Expose means on which port number your application is going to run. That you have to specify. In the app.py we specified it is going to run in 5000, so I am going to give it as a 5000 here. Okay, then the last command would be like cmd. Cmd is means in order for you to run any application, you should have some commands. Okay, that is what this command means. Cmd means like is a command line. So what you did is like you take a base image, and then you take a base image and then you set it a working directory, and then you copied the dependency file, requirement.txt file, and then you install the dependencies. And then once the dependencies are there, then my application will start to run, because this application need a dependency and flask. That's the reason I am creating it. Then in the docker.cmd file, I will be specifying called um, this is the format you have to follow for CMD. You have to open some in the CMD whatever you commands. Mostly you try to open this square brackets and then write. Even with the square brackets you can write, but try to format this file and then app.py. Mm, that's it. This is how the basic Docker container looks like. So obviously there are a lot of parameters in Docker container that will also we will look. So this is how you write. This run command means if you have to execute any Linux or any command lines that we run in Linux, similar to that, if you want to do some execution, then you have to do this pip install hyphen no cache hyphen r requirement.txt file. Now I'm going to build this image. Okay, now you know where I am, like I'm going to Phoenix directory something. Hmm. I'm actually in the current directory. If I type ls -there, I can see app.py requirement.py and docker file, right? Now what will do, I will open my docker. I have a docker desktop installed in my system. It's just an extension that I download from internet and I install. So before I run any docker, if I start running now, if I mm, if I type docker, oh, it started to run now. Okay. Hmm. If I if I didn't open this one, and then if I would have run the docker, it would say docker is not available because I didn't open my docker desktop. That's how this thing will work. Now, um, now you see what I am going to do. I am going to build this image. Okay, how I am going to build this image? There's a command called, I'm in the current directory of Phoenix project, and then if I do docker build. Okay, I do docker hyphen build and I giving a some tag, and I giving something called python. I give something called my app, and then I'm giving a tag it as latest, and and the last I'm giving a dot. What this command means, docker build in the Phoenix project, I have the Docker file. Okay, and hyphen T means tagging. Tag that image with this name. Okay, hyphen T means tagging, and how I'm going to tag hyphen my app, and then like I want to specify. I want to specify something like Phoenix. Uh, so what I specified, my project name is Phoenix now. Docker build. Uh, 1 second. So what I am going to do is like docker build hyphen t phoenix colon latest, because I have to give some version to it. You instead of latest you can give anything like 1.0 or something, but after colon whatever you give it will consider it as a version. Okay, and then dot means current directory where this docker file actually exists. If I do this one, then you see it started to build the container for you. See, I want to explain something. See, whatever the commands I given, each and every lines it consider as a layer. Okay, in the Docker, the like one, two, three, four. You see how many layers are exporting layer, exporting layer. What will happen here? Like, so you have to understand this concept, because whenever okay, what will happen is when I do Docker build means. Um, First, there is a command called from, right? From, and some base image is there. It will run in a container and then come out. And then the next command working directory will run in another container. Consider it's running in a container, and then this working directory slash update it will be running in separate container. So each and every line that you mentioned in this docker file will be a layer. Why it is running in a layer means, in the next time when I'm building a docker 1.0, if I do 2.0, and if there is no changes in these lines, it will take the um, it will always take these layers so it can run faster. So that's the reason behind these layer things. So for each and every line it will create a layer. So this layer will be available in your cache in your docker cache. Docker cache means like you know like what is cache. You clear phone memory cache, something you might have felt. So it will be in the cache memory. Whenever you want to do some 2.0 build or something, uh, if there is no command lines are changed from the docker file, then we have already built a layer is there, it will just import in the 2.0. That's the that was the thing that is going behind this one. So in interviews, if they ask you, you should be get to know this, what is the docker cache and why it is helpful. So now my docker build is image. If I type okay, if I type docker images now. Now you see a repository or project is created which is called Phoenix here. Um, now now tell me command to run the Docker run. What is the command? Lokesh,
Okay.
now tell me. I built the Docker image. I wanted to tell me the Docker command to run the application. What would be that?
Docker start container ID.
No, not Docker
Oh,
start. It should be Docker run. Run
okay.
means it. I'm going to whatever image is running. Like in the Docker image, we have an image called Docker Phoenix 1.0. We created that image, right? Now what I'm going to do Docker run and hyphen D. Hyphen D means run in the background, and hyphen
Background.
P.
Name.
Hyphen P. Uh,
Port.
uh,
Okay.
what is that? It's like a port is 5000. So
5000.
I'm going to give the same 5000 for physical host also. That would be
Hmm.
better for you. Okay. So always mostly people what will do, whatever the Docker port is running, they will give the same port to the physical host also. Mostly will not, they will not change. And then what my image is like Phoenix
One
1.0.
point
Now
zero.
if you want to give something name to it, then give it as Phoenix. Okay.
Okay, we can give at the center or afterwards also.
At the end always remember in the Docker run command format, always keep the image in the last. Whatever arguments that you pass, it should be in the mid. It can be changed. Okay, these things can be. I can put the hyphen p after the hyphen name also. That will
Okay.
work. Hyphen p means port mapping. That format should be like hyphen name. You can give some product like Phoenix app.
Okay.
Okay. Now what I do is like I'm going to start the container. Then run. Uh, Hello. So okay, now it started to run. If I do docker ps, then you see what happened. A container is running it 10 seconds ago, and it is open for 5000, and it is running, right? This python app is running. Now what I do is like what I told, I told about localhost. What is localhost? Localhost means my machine. I don't know public IP. You can get your public IP of the machine, and then you give the port and local host means my machine. Okay, in I know where this container is running currently. It is running in the my machine, right? Then it is like localhost, and then I give colon, and then I give 5000. Then you see allow from flask inside docker, where we have this message in the app we have, right? Now you see application is started to run, and got it. That's how we do this docker container and build it. That's how any application will work. This hyphen port p means like we are exposing it in a port, so I can access from the internet. Now we got it.
Yes, yes.
Hmm. So let's see what other commands that we have in the Docker file. Then we can close it for today. We will be seeing rest of the things soon. So we have seen what is from means like on from which base image we have to took, and then maintainer we have seen, working directory we have seen, copy command we have seen, add. Okay, what is this add command here? I'm just explaining it. Add command means um, like this ad is similar to this copy, but apart from this in addition to this copy, what this add functionality does in the docker file means uh, it downloads any url from the internet, and let me it downloads any URL for you from the internet, and gets added in the Docker container. Okay, you will be specified, just you just give any URL, and then you give some path. It will just do that. Even instead of so that's this add commando. It's similar to copy command, but it just copies any. If you want to copy files from the internet and need to keep it, that's add command can be used for that. Okay, next will be like run command. Run command, we have seen that uh, if you want to run any linux commands, that you can use the run command. So what is this argument and this environment means for any linux machine there will be something called, they set some environment variables. Okay, so for this one I'm going to create I'm going to give some environment is equal to environment. This environment means uh, the first env means uh, it is going to add the value in the in the container. Okay, and then you give env dot is equal to prod or something. Then that's how you segregate the uh, environments, and then env is equal to production. So this value will be available for you when application is running. Okay, then one more value is the like argument. um, so this argument, at the time when you are running the container, you want to at the time you want to container is running, you have to pass some values to your docker build. Then you have to use this called arg, because while I was doing this docker build, I can pass an extra argument, so it can be come here. Like if I build version something, I give 1.0.0.0. Okay, and then what I will happen is like in the environment variable, here it suggested that env is equal to uh, sorry. mm. So this is how this command practically is being used. So while you do docker build, mm, while you do docker build, you just pass the argument, and then you keep that argument like build version something. It will be override for you. You will be giving some 1.0.2 or something, because you have to do versioning for your application, right? You just pass the build version. Then while I do the build, it will get instead of this value, it will get replaced with this one, and then it will be added to the environmental variable. Environmental variables, you can get that value from your Linux system. um, that's how the practically it been used. Expose scene will where the application is running, and then we have cmd command, and similar to cmd we have one more command called entry point. Entry point, see, for you on the interview basis, if they ask, they will going to ask you for what is docker file, and then they will straight away going to ask what's the difference between copy and add, and then they will ask what is argument and end, what's the difference between argument and like in environmental variable, how you can change this argument by in the docker build command, and then entry point and cmd. Okay, both these commands are used to um, like what both these commands actually used for the like whatever the command that used to start the application, that will be that you have to place in the entry point. But if instead of like in this entry point, you will be mostly having the command that is fixed, because if I give entry point is equal to just python, then the first command is not going to be changed anyway. Okay, because these entry point commands are actually um, like added in the build layer itself, so this cannot be changed. Then if you see cmd is equal to app.py, so what will happen here, like if this image started to uh, mm, Uh, so entry point command, this command I cannot never change this command. If you have some, if you know this is the command line for my application, and in the command line certain words are never going to be going to be changed. That you should be add in the entry point. Okay, and there instead of the main.app.py, I have one more file called main.py. Okay, so at the time of execution I want to change it. Okay, those times what you do, by default the cmd will take it, this one, and then while you was running docker run, right, and at the last of the command you have to specify instead of main.py you just mention main.py. What will happen is like it will instead of main app.py it will take the main.py. So whatever the command that you paste in entry point, it will be added in the image layer itself, and it cannot be modified. Whatever the command that you give in the cmd, it can be modified at the runtime. That's the difference between entry point and the cmd. So I hope you got it. This what the commands of dockerfile. Lokesh, you got it.
Yes, Satish.